Welcome back to the studio. Today we've got a little bit of a different project. My daughter was interested in doing a little something for the school holidays, so we started off with a spring wreath. This wreath will form part of something we are going to paint in part 2. But for now, we are going to put this wreath together, and I'm going to let her do it on her own. So we've bought a few items: white flowers, pink flowers, some leafy bits, and a little extra little thing that we'll add at the end. She's going to need my help, as I don't want her to play and touch the sharp knives to separate the plastic parts from the wire inner part. So just have a look and see how she completes this, and I'll catch up with you pretty soon. We'll add the details with these pink sprigs. So this was one tall thing that I'm going to loosen up by separating the plastic part from the wire center. So do be careful, and if you are trying this on your own, let a parent or an adult help you to separate the plastic bits, and then using a wire pliers to cut your wire insides to get these bits separated from the big stalk. Something we didn't want to do is add too much detail, because I'll have to reproduce this as close as possible, of course using my imagination, but I wanted us to just see how simple and easy it is to create a little wreath that you can use for your door or just as an ornament in your room. Now, by adding the small, medium and large elements, you'll create a circular bouquet, so to speak, and this little thing will bring you at least 1 hour of playtime with the kids, and it's a fun project for everybody to take part in. And then when the actual wreath is finished, you can grab some sketchbooks, watercolor paints, and everybody can have a go at drawing and painting what they see. Add a few leaves, add a few blossoms, larger flowers here and there, and go outside for a photo shoot. That way you'll have a whole experience where your kids learn not only how to do the wreath, but how to paint it, how to photograph it, and also have layers of fun. There you have it. Your wreath is ready with a few finer bits and bobs here and there, and this one is pretty simple because that is what my daughter wanted. And next up, we are going to grab a sketchbook, a little bit of watercolors, a paintbrush, and we are going to paint this wreath. I'll see you there. Our wreath made it to the front door, and I'll give you a little bit of a close-up of the little flowers that became part of the wreath. Okay, so we have a bee in the studio and the cat is trying to get the bee. So I'll let them play while we get to drawing and painting. Now, of course, I would like to focus on maybe one area and use a focus area to draw in my sketchbook instead of drawing a wreath that will just fit on that part of the page. I am going to zoom in close to this area and maybe just draw one flower with a little bit of details and leaves that will form part of the wreath. That way, I'll have a focal point instead of a whole wreath. Now, you can draw any part of your wreath any way you like. So I'll get to drawing and let you watch me while I do that. So what I'm doing here is a little bit of a practice because I didn't want to draw the drawing live before I hadn't practiced it. I like this composition, but I think on the side, I think on the part I'm going to actually paint on, I'll probably add some variation or change it around. I've already started laying out some guidelines because I know I want the flower to be on slightly right hand side, and we'll make some floppy leaves. So I'll show you. These little ones are what I'm drawing now. So I'm just going to give it an extra petal on the outside to make them seem slightly larger. All right. And then these large pink leaves, I'm going to add 3 of them on the outside. 1, 2, and a third one. And I'm giving them some character by wiggling their outer edges. You know, wiggly jiggly is one of my favorite technical terms. So some wiggly jiggly lines to represent the veins. And then some of these smaller leaves. And I think the light in the studio changed because it's cloudy outside again. I'll bring the light over. How's that? Better? Okay. So these leaves, they've got nice prominent veins. So I'll bring some of them in and also give them a rugged looking edge as to not have them perfectly laid out. I wonder if I'm going to add maybe a second flower right over here. And I'm not going to make it as big as the other one. And for good measure and some balance, I'll add another one of the smaller green leaves over here. Maybe we need another one. Okay, I like that. So we've had a practice run and the actual drawing. This one I'll do in black line work, and next to it I'll test out our palette colors. So you might recognize our palette here, as this is the one I am advertising on the Facebook page for the feedback form, and you can actually stand a chance to win one of these every single month by just filling in that form. So enough about that. Let's get to choosing some of our colors. Now I mostly start my palettes off by wetting the paint blobs and creating some puddles of the colors I think I might need. So we are looking for pinks that are muted. And to get a muted pink, it's very easy. You can use any one of your pinks. I'll mix up a few for us. So that's like a quinacridone rose. Oh, this is a burnt sienna. This one is slightly more pinkish. I think this would be like a, I don't know, magenta. I'm not sure. And a blood red. That's almost orangey red. So it doesn't matter which one of these pinks we do decide to use. The way to mute one of them is by adding a little bit of green. Now I like to use this pale green. I'll show you what it looks like over there. Like a khaki shade, almost like my sleeve. Now that color will be just enough green to mute one of these in a way that it will take away the edge and that sharpness of the pinky red colors. And we can do a side-by-side comparison quickly on a scrap piece of paper. All right, I always have a bunch of these on my desk as I have plenty of cut-offs and I never throw away my cut-offs. All right, let's see that one in its pure form. All right, and this one was that one with a bit of green, muted. Can you see it just takes that edge off? So next was this pinkish one. So there that is, and we'll rinse off and grab some of the color just to show you that it's still vibrant, it's still bright, but it's not as sharp. Let's look at that burnt sienna, which is technically speaking an orange. And we might have lost some of that warmth, although it did mute it just slightly and also made it a little bit darker, funny enough. Alright, and these two we mixed together and then added the green. So just take a dab of each and then dab of green, and there you go. So we have nice muted pinks. Okay, so for the leaves, the large pink leaves, I think I will switch to, let's keep that close, to the cooler reds, and these would be warmer. So cooler on this side and warmer on that side. And of course we need more in our puddles to work with. I'll just mix up a little bit. And when you add more water to your colors, you do get them lighter, because with watercolor, your water is what's lightening your color. Put out some swatches there, just so that I can see what I'm going to work with. And I quite like the burnt sienna version. So I didn't rinse my brush, I just took some of the burnt sienna and added it to that puddle I created earlier. And of course this is not my watercolor sketchbook, this is my Welcome Home edition. I'll show you the front cover. It's a standard A5 size, and this is a spare one that a family member is using. Okay, so those color swatches look pretty good, and I do need a green now, and I wonder if I shouldn't use that exact same green to bring a little bit of life to the party. but it will still blend in with all the other muted tones. And you can vary these darker, lighter, brighter, more muted. And I encourage you to absolutely play with your paint and create combinations that you like and that you can work with. And you can make yours any color you like. Okay, I'll dive right in and add a little bit of color to my images here, and you can just follow along. As I'm going to use some color pencil to enhance this drawing a little bit more. Bring in some of those shadowy colors so that we have nice contrast and bring out the best aspects of this drawing. So I often get asked why I do so many variations on the same project. And to be honest, it's for practice. Because in my sketchbooks, I can rework any drawing or any concept as many times as I like until I reach that sweet spot. So when I've reached the sweet spot, I can then take my really expensive artist watercolor paper and my really expensive Daniel Smith watercolor paints and then bring the project together there. I have spoken about the benefits of having a sketchbook on this channel all the time. And if you want to really advance as an artist, use your sketchbooks and develop your style. The more you work with just yourself and your references, the better you will get at your craft. I never knew how to draw flowers. And by sitting and working at that every single day, I made a difference in the way I drew my flowers. and how I brought all the elements together with watercolor. And through your sketchbook, you can also discover what works for you, and you don't have to be a purist. You can use all kinds of methods together until you find something that sticks and that works for you. The beauty of your sketchbook lies in the amount of time you spend in there to develop. Is it messy? Of course it is. This is my sketchbook, and here I get to practice. We shouldn't let our sketchbooks be the final place for the final piece that becomes our art. Our sketchbooks are just the beginning of something beautiful. Okay, until next week. See you then. Bye.